Okay, hello everybody. It's Brian, and it's Friday, and um, yeah, it's been one of them weeks. So uh, weeks just go by really, really quickly. And I don't know if that's because I'm getting old. I probably have mentioned this before. The fact that I can't remember if I've mentioned it before or not is probably an indicator that I am in fact old. Oh, one second. Let me shut my door. I actually didn't do that. One sec. Um, well, I guess I can keep talking, but the general fact of the matter, which we didn't get to do on Tuesday, was that the socvel threat intelligence quiz is back. So we got that going for us. Looks like it was maybe a day late. That's okay. Good stuff. Plus, I actually found a couple of interesting websites that came up this week. Let me see. Yeah, Pearson, education giant Pearson. So if you've ever um, been the unlucky recipient of having to deal with any of their testing remotely, you know, maybe a little schadenfreude there for the Pearson folks. If you are interested in vulnerability management or keeping track of vulnerabilities that are tracked by certain organizations, in this case, CISA on their known exploited vulnerabilities intelligence feed, somebody has gone and created a tool for that. So we'll talk about some of that as well. Welcome everybody to hang out. Glad you could be here. Hey, Walt, how you doing? Both. That's just apparently there's a pro version of this. Anyway, yeah, so there is a site called, there it is. It's called kevintel.com. Kevintel.com. And it has been created by, I forget who wrote it. I saw the link on, wait a minute, I have the link in chat. So let me see. Ryan Dewhurst, creator of Damn Vulnerable Web App, founder of WP Scan, created this tool, which checks 50 public sources every 15 minutes for signs of KEVs, or known exploited vulnerabilities. So this goes beyond CISA stuff, right? This would be stuff that might have been covered by other organizations, or by maybe a threat intelligence feed that says, hey, we've seen this with, Slapping Monkey or whatever. And so every 15 minutes, it looks for new signs of these various KEVs that could exist. So, a nice free currently. There's a pro on here with a star. So my thought is, oh, they're going to make you pay for it eventually. Okay, so there's the free version and the pro version. So with the free version, you get basic data. There's a slight delay on the proprietary data, and you don't get any support. So if you find, I'm not saying pay for it now, because I'm not making a fat dollar off of this. So, but if you go through, you got an RSS feed, which is great. You got a CSV output or JSON. If you ever want to, parse that into something useful, there you might be able to filter your JSON file or your RSS looking through for specific things. Let's say you use telemessage archiving backend, or maybe you're using Seraph from Jira or something like that. Maybe this is going to be important to you, or you just want to filter on a specific vendor. You can go through and go, well, I need all the GeoVision stuff because of reasons. So, you can filter on GeoVision or Samsung or Waza. Ooh, remote code exec in the Waza server. Okay, so if you're using Waza, and I know that some folks and organizations do use that tool, you can go poke around and look at that. So very, very cool. Yeah, kevintel.com. Doink. Let me post that up here. Doink. There we go. And yeah, I'd like to thank, well, I actually found it from Jerry Gamblin, who's the principal engineer at Cisco Threat Detection and Response, who posted it up on LinkedIn as a repost from Ryan Dewhurst, who is, of course, the damn vulnerable web app creator. Very talented human right there. So you go take a look at that. And yeah, if it's worth your 100 euro a year, month, 100 euro a month. Okay. Um, so here's the API responses here. So you get from the free API, you get basic information. Here's the source, where they got that from, the vendor, title, code injection, exposure, and a fabric. And then with the pro version, you get all these additional bits, when it was published, when it was updated, EPSS score, if that's, your recent method by which you decide whether or not something is worth your time and effort to patch, versus CVSS score, because it's an 8.6, but the chances of it being, the way I understand it, the closer it is to zero point 0.1 or whatever is, yeah, we'll have to do some more discussion on EPSS. But yeah, if you have any thoughts on that, there you go. You get some additional bits, and if you put in 100 euro a month, it might be worth your time and effort to get support from that person to hey, maybe you get features put in, etc. Oh, and it also helps fund honeypot sensors. So that's kind of interesting as well. Immediate priority proprietary data from custom honeypots. Very interesting. Very interesting. Okay. Anyway, go take a look. No pressure. I'm not getting paid for that. So actually didn't see the pro bit on the website when I saw it. So there you go. Yeah, Pearson education. And to be fair, we may end up seeing this one again. I don't know on the socvel thing, but whatever. We'll get one right, maybe. So education giant Pearson, Pearson VUE used to be. Pearson is the UK-based version. I think US version is Pearson VUE. So yeah, according to Bleeping Computer, or in a statement to Bleeping Computer, Pearson confirmed they suffered a cyber attack and the data was stolen, but mostly legacy data. So it doesn't really matter. It's just legacy data. It's old, right? It's old data. No, whatever. One, if they're storing that legacy data, then it means there's still some value to the company and or the people who might be using it. You can't say it's legacy data and downplay the fact that it was legacy data when in fact you're holding onto that data. If it's legacy data, get rid of the data. That and Pearson, if you want to listen to me and actually do that, you can send me a check for $10,000, because that's my going rate for consultancy fees. Get rid of the data if it's legacy data. If you're PR people trying to downplay this shit as if it's not a huge deal, then it's not a huge deal and you don't need that data and you can get rid of it. Otherwise, it's not legacy data. You should have protected it, and hopefully I hope GDPR kicks you in the ass. So there you go. I don't have any love for Pearson since I tried to do a couple of tests with their system during the pandemic, and I had somebody screech at me from my laptop when I was trying to do a test that cost me money, to tell me to quit mouthing the words when I'm reading the questions. It sounded like some old crone who was doing this as a side job, but yeah, it was a lot of fun, to get that. So yeah, they can, the Schadenfreude for me is palpable. So you have to excuse my my want of of that. So all right. So yeah, expose GitLab token. Threat actors compromised Pearson's developer environment in 2025, January 2025, through an exposed GitLab personal access token found in their public git config file. And of course, the git config file is a local config file used by Git projects to store configuration settings such as project name, email address, and other information. It should be noted that I believe, well, I'm not going to say whether or not the secrets are stored there, but I do know that things like GitHub will tell you need to change your name and your email address. It will warn you when you might be storing that kind of information when you're trying to upload it to a repo. It might, you can set that in your GitLab to say maybe you don't upload things called secrets. So I have been hit by that before. The exposed token allowed threat actors to access company source code, which contain further hard-coded credentials and authentication tokens for cloud platforms. Okay, so they've got hard-coded credentials in their source code, which is another no-no, another boo-boo that they made, which, probably they told their security folks, hey, that's an acceptable risk. We're going to go ahead and accept that as a problem. We'll fix it, in the year 85. Shut the fuck up. And so security was like, okay. And then somebody made that mistake. So over the following months, threat actor reportedly used these credentials. Okay, so additional credentials, the follow-on credentials, just okay. Oh God, this hurts. This just hurts. Terabytes of data, terabytes of legacy data that, it's only legacy data. So, whatever. From the company's internal network and cloud infra, including AWS, Google Cloud, and various cloud-based database services such as Snowflake and Salesforce. Oh my God. So not only did they get legacy data that was probably people's account information or information when they signed up for tests or something, but with the CRM, you also have their customer relationship database or CRM, data stored containing customer info, financial support tickets, source code with millions of people impacted. But it's all legacy data, so it's cool. It's cool. Oh, good. Bleeping did ask the follow-on. Thank God. Okay, so somebody here has a bit of a spine at Bleeping Computer asking Pearson whether they paid the ransom and what they meant by legacy data. How many customers were impacted? If the customers would be notified, the company responded they would not be commenting on these questions. Interesting. Interesting. They didn't have. Apparently, their PR people were not ready or not prepared to answer the questions of whether or not you're going to notify people. It sounds like they're still trying to figure out what all was owned up after they had a bad guy in their network for months on end. Pearson previously disclosed in January they were investigating a breach of one of their subsidiaries as well, which also believed to be related to the attack. Well, I mean, if their subsidiaries had access or if they had passwords. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to suggest that there's passwords to PDRI, but I mean, if it could be that somebody at PDRI had access to the source code or something like that. So scanning for Git config files and exposed credentials has become a common method for threat actors to breach cloud services. It's also a good way to get bug bounty as well. And that may be considered out of scope, but they will damn sure pay you for that because of stuff like this. So if you happen to scan around on some Git and find some exposed credentials or anything like that, send them over on a bug bounty program because they'll pay for them. It may be out of scope, but you've probably averted a disaster potentially, especially if it's something like this. Yeah, I mean, it's interesting how, Bleeping Computer will add on to this, but they say Internet Archive was also breached after threat actors discovered config files with their authentication tokens in them as well. For this reason, it's critical to secure Git config files by preventing public access and to avoid embedding credentials in remote URLs. So it's a good tip. Good tip. I am interested in understanding how they consider that legacy data, and maybe it's time to do a purge of that data, but we know they won't. So, if you're outside the U.S. and you're in the U.K. Or EU potentially, you might want to look forward to an email or a phone call or a letter in the post to mention you've been breached. So. Plus, those EU regulators get on that. Start sending out some fines and stuff. So let me see. Oh, that's KEV. Okay, so that is the Pearson view. Let me see what else. What else? Okay, so one of the things we'll come back to this a little bit, but boot.dev and operate and object-oriented programming, they have these things. What is it? So the last bunch is called encapsulation, abstraction, inheritance, and polymorphism. These are not easy. lessons. I've actually kind of struggled with the last couple here. Where's the 10 that I did earlier? Let's see. No, that's not it. Where is it? I must have finished up in number 2 in the classes. So yeah, here it is. Number 10, right? Yeah, this is the one. This was the answer that we ended up getting to. Of course, I had to use Mr. Boots to figure some things out. My issue is, and here's the answer to this one, but um, is so we have the init up at the top, and that's how you do the initial book class. When you're referring to the other bits up here on top, I sometimes get confused as to which one it wants me to, if it wants me to pick self versus an external area. That I understand the overall process here with trying to, what was this part here for remove book? It was like if the book's title and author match a library book's Kindle, or book's title and author, remove that library book from the list. So if the library title, if the lib book title, which is right, where did I call lib book at? Let me see. Oh, I think I just called it as an item. So in self books, I just called it for every item in self books, which is library book. If it equals the book title, which is called up here. Oh, yeah, title, book title. So book.title and libbook.author. So hold up the author. So here's libbook author, library book author. If both of these are true, then you can remove this book from books book. You can use book remove to remove it from the uh, which one was it? It was a dictionary, right? Empty list. So you can remove it from the empty list. So you have to create an empty list, right? And I can show the solution here. So there's a few things that are slightly different in the answer here, but it still works, right? I'm not doing search strings or anything like that. My answer still works. It was just a few less lines, which is okay when you're doing these things. Yeah, if search underscore string dot lower and book title lower, or yeah, then results append dot book. Yeah, okay, so yeah, my answer was a bit more. Well, I could have probably popped that down to the next line, but yeah, so it's pretty much the same as that. It just didn't match up correctly. Yeah, some of these are quite difficult. Anyway, I want to go back up to cyber because I haven't done this yet. So don't know. I don't know how much experience everybody has with object-oriented programming. One of the things I learned as I was actually looking through some of the lessons. There's some parts of it that only work in Ruby, Java, and Python. So like they mentioned, no, that's not it. That's some D&D stuff that I've been playing around with. I want to say polymorphism they mentioned here. No, that's not it. One of them was like, oh yeah, this stuff only works in Python. Let me see. Yeah, so I'm gonna get into this where I'm gonna be creating like spacing and rectangles and things, and there's um, I'm interested in understanding how to do that with programming in this case. So the polymorphism, inheritance is the other one. Oh, right here, yeah. Non-OOP languages like Go and Rust and support encapsulation and abstraction. Almost every language does. Inheritance, on the other hand, is typically unique to class-based languages like Python, Java, and Ruby. And so yeah, I get to go through some of the, and none of these are easy. This one's a 4, but most of these are like much more difficult in this case. 4s, 5s, 6s. Here's an 8, that kind of thing, or 8 to 10. So yeah, I'm not gonna be without work to make this stuff done. So, and then of course the latest one that I have here is one where I've got to do all the encapsulation practice in one big thing. So um, yeah, that one's going to be fun. Anyway, all right, let's go back here. Start. Now, I haven't done this yet, so this is first time through, but In Talos Q1 IR overview, what RMM or remote management RMM, basically like, anything that allows you to connect remotely to a machine. Tool did attackers use during a Cactus ransomware attack? Well, historically, it's been stuff like TeamViewer, or I've had the overlapping triangles as job interview question. Oh, really? Really? Damn it. I wish I wouldn't keep looking at RPG stuff when I'm trying to, okay. All right, I'm just all over the place here. Sorry, Al. So that's interesting, Walt. You said that okay, so that makes sense now why they would have this stuff in here, and then also to teach you how to be, the last course in this whole back end developer bit is how to get hired as a as a programmer. So if this is one of the exercises, you're going to be like, oh, I've done this before because I did it on boot.dev. Okay, well that's very interesting. I did not know that that was a thing. So. Um, Oh, because I like pimping them out for no, I'm not good at it. They have new back-end path for courses here. So they just started a whole TypeScript versions or Golang version. So it used to be everything was in one course, but if you want to do strictly Golang and get rid of, things like Python or things that might not necessarily you want to do, you can just click on that and they have different things in different places. So or you want to do TypeScript version, so they have a TypeScript backend as well. So if you want to learn Python and TypeScript, I think they'll probably replace the Golang with TypeScript or JavaScript. So uh, yeah, they just put the new stuff. They put in some new stuff updated in 2025. So I saw that they announced that on the list here. So if you're interested in TypeScript or what would be JavaScript in this case, they have that. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Did I lose my... Oh, I lost my bits. There we go. Get back to that. All right. We'll go back over here. All right. So um, historically, I think it's been like TeamViewer or VNC Viewer, and I think I'm going to go with TeamViewer on this one. No, Quick... Oh, I don't even know what Quick Assist is. Well, at least they're changing stuff. Let's see. Phishing attacks spiked this quarter as threat actors leveraged this method of initial access to half of all engagements, a vast increase from previous quarters. Conversely, the use of valid accounts for initial access was rarely seen this quarter, despite being the top observed method in 2024. What is Quick Assist? Because I've never heard of it before. That might be a nice thing, for your organization. Quick Assist RMM. Yes, I know. Okay, seriously. There's just some things that DuckDuckGo does not do well. Thinking of doing TypeScript, JavaScript for my annual career goals, was thinking using boot.dev. There you go. Yeah. Okay, so Microsoft Quick Assist is a built-in Windows feature that enables remote assistance by allowing one user to remotely view and control another user's computer. So it's like the new RDP, right? Didn't even know that existed. And it doesn't affect me because I'm using Macs now, so I won't have to worry about that so much. Yeah, Walt, I saw that, yeah, that they had posted that up. They'd actually announced it on the sheet. So yeah. All right, so Quick Assist instead of TeamViewer. I will put the link as per normal in chat. Paste. Walt, I was going to suggest, hey, maybe have a study group or something or whatever. But then I was like, well, some people work at different rates than others. And, they already have a fairly good community on there. So, having a study group just, it doesn't seem like it would, unless, you want motivation or you want to, collaborate or something. I could see that. So, yeah, so Quick Assist is bad. Adversary sends a flood of spam emails to target mailbox. Adversary contacts target posing as IT support. And adversary establishes Quick Assist remote session with the target's workstation on gating initial access. Adversary modifies Titan plus registry key to establish persistence in C2 channels. Wow. So yeah, once the person has given the adversary quick assist remote access, it's pretty much game over, because then they can do whatever they want on your system as you or similar. So great, 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 great. All right, next. Based on instincts, I don't know what the hell that is. Minced loader report. What does it use to complicate monitoring as of its infrastructure? DGA would be domain generating algorithm. So it generates, new ones on the fly. I don't know what, DEAD might be dead, DED, DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion, maybe. DEA, Drug Enforcement Administration, well, they might be using government resources. DGA seems like the only one I know, so I'm going to go ahead and use that one. I don't know what the other three acronyms are, but this seems like the most likely. Yeah, so, okay. DGA is domain generating algorithms. It automatically creates no, I'm going to go back. No, I didn't need to go back. That sucks. Let's see if I can go backwards. Oh, you son of a bitch. Wait. I didn't even. Oh, you asshole. According to one recent Sentinel Run report, which ransomware group is impersonating real companies to buy EDR licenses for misuse? Okay, that makes sense. Nitrogen, huh? Never heard of them. It's not hard. I mean, salespeople will sell to anybody, right? So that makes sense. In recent months, SentinelOne has observed and defended against a spectrum of attacks, from financially motivated crimeware to tailored campaigns by advanced nation-state actors. These incidents were real intrusion attempts against a US-based cybersecurity company by adversaries, but incidents such as these are neither new nor unique to SentinelOne. Okay. Recent adversaries have included DPRK, North Korean IT workers posing as job applicants, ransomware operators probing for ways to access and abuse the platform, our platform, Chinese state-sponsored actors targeting organizations aligned with our business and customer base. And then they said, where is it? People were, yeah, let's see. What'd they call it? Nitrogen? Nitrogen. There you go. Threat operators are leveling up, so they're now bypassing underground market altogether, opting instead for more tailored, concentrated impersonation effort campaigns to gain access to security tools. Okay, I mean, how hard is it to set up an LLC in Delaware and look legit? The only thing is they would have to fake numbers to salespeople and be like, oh, we have 30,000 seats, and just buy, give us 30,000 seats or whatever. Nitrogen is believed to be operated by a well-funded Russian national with ties to earlier groups like Maze and Snatch. Okay. Nitrogen impersonates real companies, spinning up lookalike domains, spoofed email addresses, and cloned infrastructure to convincingly pose as legitimate businesses. I'm it's like fishing, right? It's like fishing exercises or what have you, where you've got every attack is sophisticated, right? And then you find out that the fish is like, click here to, inspect your password, something super simple. I don't think companies who are selling things, and their salespeople in particular, are overly really caring, in this kind of market where, if you're not making sales, you're going to get laid off. If somebody comes to you and says, hey, here's 50,000 seats, give us licensing for your tool. Boom, here's the cash. Here's the check, right? Is the salesperson really going to go like, I don't want to make a sale. Yeah, I'm not going to make a sale. I would imagine that, yeah, especially from a reseller. I mean, you've got a reseller is like, hey, Oh, looks like this might have been AI generated. Got an M dash in here. Keeping interactions minimal or relying on resellers' inconsistent KYC practices slip through the cracks. And that's what it is, right? Resellers are going to sell, right? Resellers are going to push product. They want to push product. They want that money. They want that cash money. And so, resellers are going to sell to lower end people. So if you want, say, CrowdStrike, you're not going to go directly to CrowdStrike unless you're a million person company or you're willing to throw out fat loot. Even inside sales doesn't handle like a small or medium business. You go to a reseller, which would maybe sell you also their SOC, that comes along with the EDR process or something. So they would give you right, and that's how you would normally get those. Uh, at least that's how I envision it. But if anybody has any other thoughts, please feel free to comment on the YouTube channel video below, and let people know. Yeah, impersonation tactics, new layer of complexity for defenders. If a threat actor successfully acquires legitimate licenses from a real vendor, they can weaponize a product, test, evade. I mean, and some of the breaches that people have, some companies have been involved in, software licenses could definitely be a thing. Or, you get the exe off of the local file server that has, CrowdStrike Falcon, and you have a legitimate copy of that, or there may be a number of different ways to get that. Lessons learned. One of the most impactful lessons of tracking adversaries targeting our platform has been the value of deep, early collaboration across internal teams. Yeah, there's a lot of M dashes in here. I'm thinking this was AI generated. A lot of M dashes. Yeah. Yes, yes, yes. Ew. Okay. Yeah, I'm not enjoying the M dash stuff. Yeah. Okay. Let's get out of there. All right. So I didn't get that one right because I refreshed the screen. Based on Google Threat Intelligence 2024 O-Day analysis, what is the motivation behind a majority of zero-day exploits? DDoS. I doubt DDoS because just not feeling that one. Disruption, sure, but that's a little too generic, right? I'm going towards ransomware. But why would you burn that, right, for ransomware? Maybe it doesn't take much these days with people not patching. They still don't patch. So I'm thinking ransomware may be out. Now I kind of realize watching, I watch The Wall with my wife and family, and that's one of the things that, I was like, this is the right answer or whatever. I'm thinking espionage, zero-day exploits. If I was going to burn that kind of asset, an O-day, I would want some kind of high value thing. Well, my first thought was ransomware, so I don't want to go back on that. So let's go ahead and hit ransomware. Nope, espionage. Okay. Well, I did get rid of the first two, so I was down to the last two here. So espionage. Seriously. Okay. Uh, let me see if I can socvel.com quiz. Website was down a little bit last week. Again. Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm not going to be able to get those back. Damn it. Okay. Oligo discovered a set of vulns in Apple AirPlay. What have they been called? Ooh, iVulnerability, aerosol, airborne, or air siren. I really have no clue here. Air siren. It's as good as any. Nope, airborne. Okay, source. Click source. Wormable zero click. Ooh. Wormable zero click. Wow, that is not a fun day for the people over at Apple right now. Oligo Security Research discovered a set of vulnerabilities in Apple's AirPlay protocol and AirPlay software. Actually, they probably would not be reporting on this unless they'd already been involved with Apple and they've already fixed the issue. Vulnerabilities enable an array of attack vectors and outcomes, including zero-click RCE, one-click RCE, access control list, and user interaction bypass, local arbitrary file reads, sensitive information disclosure, host in the middle type attacks, and denial service. Okay, so they got 2 CVEs out of it, which is great. Probably done by Apple themselves. So yeah, they reported these to Apple. They got a CVE. Now we can talk about it online. So it's probably been out for a few months already. Allow attackers to weaponize wormable zero-click RCE exploits. An attacker can take over certain AirPlay-enabled devices and do things like deploy malware that spreads to devices on any local network the infected device connects to. And since it's in the Apple ecosystem, it could spread, right? Oh yes, because AirPlay is a fundamental piece of software for Apple devices, Mac, iPhone, iPad, Apple TV, etc., as well as third-party devices that leverage AirPlay SDK. This class of vulnerabilities have far-reaching impacts. There you go. There you go. While not every Apple device worldwide is vulnerable to RCE via airborne, Apple stated in January 2025 that there are 2.35 billion active Apple devices across the globe. Okay, so one does not necessarily mean the other. They said while not every device is vulnerable to the attack, they mentioned that, well, there's 2 billion devices available. So one does not necessarily mean that all 2.35 billion devices are, ownable. Yeah, none of this is, all this is garbage. The Vision Pro, yeah, okay, yeah, okay, great. None of that matters. Apple and Oligo work together to thoroughly identify and address the vulnerabilities with the goal of protecting end users, blah, 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 blah. Oligo disclosed 23 vulnerabilities to Apple in total. 17 CVEs were issued. A complete list and description are available. So they did a review or a pen test or a private review of AirPlay. Maybe part of Apple's security program is periodic reviews of certain technologies like AirPlay or what have you, and they found those. Could be. I doubt it. It can't. I doubt Oligo is in the bug bounty world doing that kind of stuff. This very much feels like an engagement, and then at the end it was like, well, we owned you up pretty good. You've given us some CVEs. Can we talk about it? And this was after they've hopefully patched everything. So I'm imagining, yeah, see, this was patched by Apple with Sequoia 15.3 in January 2027. So yeah, it's been 5 months ago when they patched this. So they've been working with them probably since, I don't know, September, October 2024, sometime around that time frame, depending on how long it took to fix them. My guess is they pushed this out this week because there was one thing that they couldn't necessarily fix easily, and they had to wait until everything was fixed. So, all right, yeah, go read that read up. Oh wait, okay, okay, I got confused. All right, we'll go down here and go back to this one. All right, next, NRK North NRK. Oh, NRK is a company. Exposed credit card fraud gang. What is the software they developed to rapidly launch fake websites? Oh, cool. Suckers, Magic Cat, Fish Cat instead of Catfish. Magic Mushroom. Why am I stuck on Magic Cat? Cat? Yes. Okay. Hey, I got one right. Total guess. I was actually stuck between Magic Mushroom and Magic Cat, but for some reason, the fact, yeah, I don't know why Fish Cat and Catfish kind of made me think of cats. So yeah, there we go. Don't do that. Inside the scam network. Okay. This looks like it is. Oof. Yeah, I don't. Okay, my brain is broke because it's coming up. Okay, there we go. Norwegians. Okay, Norwegians. So this is a Norwegian organization. So brush up on your Norwegian language. I forget what that's called. Danish? No, that would be. Oh, that would be Netherlands? No, Norwegian. I'm sorry. I'm an ignorant American in this case. Stream of text messages being sent. Okay, so they're crafted to deceive us. Scammers never expect you to see this video. Okay. Oh, here we go. Here's X66. NRK refers to him as X66. Chinese cartoon wolf is his pictures. Okay. Scam hunter. All right. Looks like it's just like a list of things here. Let me see. Control F. Magic. Cat. There we go. Scammers are stealing money from people all around the world. How do they do it? They use their super weapon, one of the most spectacular items at the fish market. Custom-made software for text message scams called Magic Cat makes it easier for people with good data skills to try their hand at being scammers. Nevertheless, more than the software is required to succeed. The program allows you to choose from over 300 fake websites that look like the original websites of well-known companies. Okay, that makes sense. You want to scam Norwegians, you can choose between lookalike sites representing Poston or AutoPass. I'm assuming those are very popular. For other countries, you can pretend to be Amazon, the Postal Service, British Royal Mail. That makes sense. There are no there are no fake websites available in Chinese. Oh, that's surprising. Maybe they're trying to tell us something there with regards to that. Since Mr. Wolf, Chinese Wolf guy here, maybe he doesn't want people using it against them, which is ironic considering a lot of tools in America can be used against American people and companies. American hackers, don't give a shit. But Chinese guy doesn't want it used against them for Baidu or Weibo or whoever, Tencent, what have you. So interesting. Okay. All right. Inside Scam Network. All right. URL Scan's first research blog of 2025 or first ever. Anyway, analyzed phishing attacks on Japanese financial services. What is the suspected origin of the attackers? Well, I doubt it's South Korea. I mean, I'm sure there's geopolitical tensions there, but historically, it's going to be one of the other three, I'd imagine. China and Japan have kind of always had well, they did fight a war against one another, which, historically, I'm going to say China only because I don't think it's worth Russia's time to do that. I know that they've had some territorial disputes over some islands, but I'm thinking China. Weird. Rise of Oriental Gudgeon. Okay. Phishing kit targets 40 Japanese financial services entities. This is the first ever research-oriented post on the URL scam blog. Oh, there you go. So it is the very first ever. So right out the block. So here's another blog if you wanted to keep up on various threat intel. So you can go to urlscan.io and check that out. Since October 2024, we've observed a phishing kit impersonating dozens of commercial entities in Japan, primarily companies in the financial services sector. Phishing kit will impersonate the website of these organizations and their brands with the goal of obtaining valid login credentials of legitimate users of these sites. So, oh, you can see it ramping up. Okay. And then they, drop off in January, February timeframe. Chinese New Year, maybe? I don't know. I think Chinese New Year in 2025. Let me see. Chinese New Year 2025. January 29th. There you go. Okay, so I'm not saying that it's a data point mind, but let me see, where is it? January 29th was, well, the week of, January 26th. So they had a we used to joke about this. Full disclosure, I did work at CrowdStrike at one time. We used to joke that Chinese New Year, the bears, the pandas, and everybody stayed home. The pandas stayed home. They didn't do anything. There was a lull in activity. The week of the 26th was Chinese New Year, so people take the week off. They don't hack so much then. So you see the entire month of January actually was, less active. Well, at the beginning of January, but the end into the middle of February, very, there was a lull in activity. And then boom, right after everybody gets back from holiday, there you go. Everybody's back to work. So you can see the build up there. That's funny. All right. All right, next. I gotta come back. I messed up on one of them. Damn. Mandiant released a guide on defending against scattered spider. For what should you unbind admin auth from? Wait. For what should you unbind admin auth from your central IDP? So, um, this is oddly specific. ATMs, payment systems, virtualization platforms, domain controllers. Um, I'm feeling like domain controllers. Um, if I remembered who Scattered Spider was in terms of threat actors, I would be able to answer this one better. Um, that's why I suggest if you're a threat intelligence wonk that you're gonna follow Scattered Spider and you'd be able to get 10 of 10 on these things. So payment systems. You know what? I'm gonna say payment systems because two of the four of these have to do with money, right? Domain controllers, I'm thinking you're going to need some admin auth from those. You're going to need to be able to get into those with that. So virtualization platforms, you should be running separate accounts on those that aren't necessarily auth, but you would need to log into those with admin authentication from time to time to do things like patching or whatever. I'm going to say payment systems. Shit, it is virtualization platforms. Wow. Okay, so that just shows how much I don't know. UNC 3944, Scattered Spider, overlaps with the public reporting. Financially motivated threat actor, right. Persistent use of social engineering and brazen communications with victims. So they just like, hey, you've been owned, give us money, that kind of thing. They're not even worried about trying to be slick. They're just like, hey, give us money or we're going to own you. After shifting to ransomware and data theft extortion in 2023, they impacted organizations in a broader range of industries. Since then, we've regularly observed UNC 3944 conduccting waves of targeting against specific sectors, such as financial services orgs in late 2023 and food services in 2024. Okay, and then where do they talk about virtualization? Virtualization. There you go. To prevent threat actors leveraging rogue endpoints in an environment, organizations should monitor for rogue bastion hosts, or virtual machines that are either newly created or recently joined to a managed domain. Well, that makes sense. Well, I mean, if they have access to your virtual machine farm where they can create virtual machines or new bastion hosts, you've got bigger problems already, right? Wow. Let me scroll down through here. There we go. Isolate and enforce network and identity access restrictions for enterprise password managers or privileged access platform systems. This should include leveraging dedicated and segmented servers and appliances for PAM systems which are isolated from enterprise infrastructure and virtualization platforms. Reduce the scope of accounts that have access to PAM systems in addition to requiring strong authentication like MFA. Enforce role-based access controls within PAM systems. This is payment privileged access management systems. If you're using those at all, I mean, hopefully you are with that. Oh, here's virtualization. Okay, so isolate and restrict ESXi hosts and vCenter server appliances. Ensure that backups are isolated, secured, and immutable. Proactively rotate local root and admin passwords for privileged identities associated with virtualization platforms. Use stronger MFA and bind to local SSO. Yeah, all of this is about. Oh, and also don't have your ESXi servers or your vCenter servers exposed to the internet because you will. And you can because you can. I heard something. I just read something. What was it? If you have a lifetime subscription to vCenter, was that there was a cease and desist that was sent out by Broadcom, who are now the overlords of. Yeah, here we go. Broadcom is pressuring VMware customers with cease and desist letters over perpetual licenses. I saw this on Reddit. Somebody had said that their manager came to them because they have a perpetual license, but they got a C&D in the mail they're not doing anything wrong. It's just like um, they've blocked the ability for you once your contract is over with and you're re-upping, you're not going to get a perpetual license anymore. They want you to subscribe to the letters are seemingly targeting customers that acquired a perpetual license before Broadcom digested the virtualization giant. Some organizations are threatened because they chose not to convert the previous license to a subscription, as they are likely looking for alternative solutions and don't want to give in to Broadcom's unreasonable requests. So, don't know if anybody's gotten a C&D from Broadcom at all about virtual VMware. But they said the wording used in its letters focused on official support services, which are no longer available if a product was previously purchased with a perpetual license. Therefore, Broadcom demands is a hard word. That may come back to bite them in the ass if there's a class action or something, because, lifetime license, right? This is, again, our perpetual license. This may cause them problems. I would hope that their legal is like, well, we can defend it on blah or whatever, or it's like one of those things where they uh, unlimited data, on cell phones, you get unlimited data, and it's like it's unlimited to a certain point, and it's unlimited in terms of speed, not necessarily the amount of data you get. You can't use 150 gigs worth of cellular data. You can, but after the first 35 gigs of unlimited speed data, you're going to be, at 2G speeds, which is, nigh unusable for some folks. The only exception is about O-Day vulnerabilities. So yeah, they're gonna hamstring. They're gonna stop. Such customers stop installing new updates to VMware products, including maintenance releases, minor releases, patches, or security fixes. The only exception is zero-day vulnerabilities for vSphere 7 and 8, and only when flaws have a CVSS score of greater than or equal to 9. So what they're trying to stop people from downloading updates and installing them on their systems. I don't understand that. If you have a portal and you're getting updates to that, they can't stop you from installing updates to your own systems unless they're asking you to do it in terms of like some sort of automated patching. Broadcom now treats patches and bug fixes as part of its official support services. Effectively forcing companies to pay for the right to install updates. Shit. That's harsh. Yeah, okay, yeah. Grounds Broadcom appears willing to pursue in court. That is nuts. Applying a patch without an active subscription violates VMware's software license and infringes on its intellectual property. I'm guessing there's some legal folks reading some terms and conditions that when they signed up, they're looking for loopholes and stuff. That is interesting. Broadcom has escalated the situation by claiming the right to audit customers, aiming to catch anyone installing official patches on perpetually licensed software without an active support contract. Critics have dubbed these cease and desist nastygrams. Dubbed? They've always been called nastygrams. Are you kidding? Signed by the managing director. Well, let's hope that he's had that looked at by their legal folks. And, if they're willing to pursue that in court, they could drag that out for years, but that's unfortunate. I mean, all they're doing is just damaging themselves, I think, in my opinion. So, but yeah, I saw that. If you got a C&D this week, I wouldn't stress too much about it, but you might want to take a look at whatever options are out there. Go buy a Proxmox subscription or, Zen Orchestrator or something like that. See if there's some other options that you can use, or just maybe try to Dockerize as much stuff as you can, or Kubernetes size. Yeah. Put everything in Kubernetes. Could be worse, I guess. At least they haven't tried to charge you for that yet, Anyway, next. It's not going to be a banner day for me here. U.S. man has pled guilty. Oh, I actually read this one. I think I got it right. U.S. man pled guilty to hacking Disney employees' PC via fake. What did he infect the targets? Interesting. Okay, I think this is Gen AI app. I remember I read this. Fake Gen, yeah, there's a fake Gen AI app. Yeah. Um, okay, I can go look that one up. And I think I actually talked about it on Tuesday. Disney hacker Gen AI. Man pleads guilty to I think I posted this one up on Tuesday because I thought it was kind of interesting. California man pled guilty, 25-year-old, Ryan Mitchell Kramer, one count of accessing a computer, billions of posts, billions of not billions, but several terabytes of data from 1.1 terabytes of data of confidential data from Disney Slack channels. So you know, maybe he'll be able to tell us what next live action Disney abomination is going to occur uh, in this case. Which ransomware group had their site hacked exposing victim negotiation chats? Really? Interesting. Um, why am I focusing on Cactus here? Yeah, I'm gonna say Cactus. Lockbit. Okay. Damn. Okay. Lockbit hacked. Wait. So we're reporting on bad guys that got hacked by some other bad guys. Okay, I guess that's fine. What can you can you imagine? Okay, so Lockbit ransomware gang suffered a data breach after its dark web affiliate panels were defaced and replaced with a message linking to a MySQL database dump. All of the ransomware gang's admin panels now state, "Don't do crime. Crime is XOXO from Prague," with a link to download a panel db dump.zip. Oh my God. So a Robinhood hacker, well, maybe not Robinhood hacker. That's hilarious. Okay. At first, as, as first spotted by the threat actor Ray, this archive contains a SQL file dump from the site affiliate panel's MySQL database. From analysis by Bleeping Computer. So Bleeping Computer got a hold of the zip file apparently before it got removed. This database contains 20 tables with some more interesting than others, including BTC addresses, 59,975 unique Bitcoin addresses, builds table containing individual builds created by affiliates for attacks. Table rows contain public keys, no private keys, unfortunately. I'm guessing in this case, the private keys that might have been in this table would have allowed for removal of certain ransomware things or control of C2, etc. Targeted companies' names are also listed for some of the builds. Okay. Builds configuration table contains the different configurations used for each build, such as an ESXi server to skip or files to encrypt. Chats table is very interesting. 4,442 negotiation messages between the ransomware operator and victims dated from December 19th through April 29th. I was laughing because my first thought is you're going to get something in the mail from the Lockbit gang saying, "We've been hacked. Here's your breach notification that your breach information that we breached you for has now been breached, and we're going to offer a year of credit monitoring." Can you imagine bad guys giving credit monitoring for their own breached data that they breached themselves? I'm stupid. It's stupid. I'm sorry. Um, It's unclear who carried out the breach and how it was done, but the defacement message matches the one used in a recent breach of Everest ransomware's dark website, suggesting a possible links. Okay, so we may have a good guy hacker type, or good person hacker out there. Sorry, not to engenderate anything there. It could be anybody. Somebody is doing some good. It could also be somebody who is also bad doing things for the lulls against their competition. And so, I can't give these people too much credit because it could be, some other organization that's trying to take down a competitor. In 2024, law enforcement operation named Operation Kronos took down Lockbit's infrastructure. including 34 servers, hosts the data leak website and its mirrors, data stolen from victims, cryptocurrency addresses, 1,000 decryption keys. See, that's what they wanted right there. They were hoping the decryption keys would be in there. Sounds like maybe this organization got wise. Well, if Lockbit got hit once, maybe they've learned their lesson. They didn't put the decryption keys in the same table as everything else, which is smart. So they learned. Also, Lockbit managed to rebuild and resume operations after the takedown. This latest breach strikes a further blow to its already damaged reputation. But at least they didn't put the decryption keys in there, right? Right. It's too early to tell if this additional reputation hit will be the final nail in the coffin for the ransomware gang. Similar leaks with other ransomware groups include Conti, Black Boss, and Everest. So there you go. Updated article to remove potential PHP CVE the server was vulnerable to, as that CVE only impacted Windows. Okay. So they were trying to make a connection that there was a PHP vulnerability in their version of their dark web panel that they were using, but that was not the case. So that would also make it, make it assume that they knew that it was a Windows or Linux box versus, whatever. So, all right. Well, I didn't do so well. I am the suck. 4 of 10. Womp womp. Restart. Start. Okay, so let me see if I can get quick assist. I'm gonna go and grab the, let me see, DGA, of course. Sentinel-1, nitrogen, it's nitrogen, yeah, top tier target, okay. Yeah, espionage, now grab that one there. Pop that one in here as well, blink, and there we go. Yeah, hello, O'Days, my old friend. Thank you, Casey, James, Clement, and Vlad for your lulzy title there. Key takeaways: zero-day exploitation continues to grow gradually. 75 O-day vulnerabilities exploited in 2024 follow a pattern that has emerged over the past 4 years. While individual year counts have fluctuated, the average trend line indicates the rate of O-day exploitation continues to grow at a slow but steady pace. Sure. Makes sense. Vendors are changing the game. Vendor investments in exploit mitigations are having a clear impact on where threat actors are able to find success. We're seeing notable decreases in O-day exploitation of some historically popular targets such as browser and operating systems. Well, okay, that's good. Hey, there's some good news, right? Notable decreases in O-day exploitation. Okay, so so it's an arms race, right? So browsers and mobile systems were a huge deal with O-days. We start, we being the good guys, people, start focusing on that. They pivot to something else. The other teams pivots. The bad folks start pivoting to something else. So we'll start making changes. We'll go over here to VMware and virtualization platforms because that's where they're using that, and then they'll go back to browsers and mobile operating systems when the heat's off. So here you go, enterprise versus end user. So there's still more end user vulnerabilities than there are enterprise level vulnerabilities in security and networking products. So like your F5s, your blue coats, your vulnerabilities that might exist in those that are undisclosed right now. So other vulnerabilities might be like the Apple ones we saw earlier, where it was like the entire ecosystem is connected through Apple SDK, AirPlay SDK, and that's bad, right? So yes. Anyway, yeah. See, okay. So Windows still at the top, Safari, Safari, whatever. Firefox is down here. Maybe Firefox is like the darling, and hackers don't want to poke around on Firefox. You see it on Chrome, you see it on Apple, you see it on Microsoft. Firefox is down here at the bottom because they're not a big evil corporation. Maybe it's an ideology thing, right? We see Google, we see Apple, we see Windows, we see or Microsoft, we see Google, and Firefox. Does that mean that Firefox is a more secure browser? No. It just means that they didn't find a lot of vulnerabilities in Firefox. It could be that maybe they're not looking at it right now, but it doesn't necessarily make them more secure. It just means that they found less O days in that. I'm open to debate for that, but I get that a lot at work. People will be like, "Oh, we didn't get a lot of vulnerabilities this month," and I'm like, "Yeah," and they're like, "Oh, that means we're doing good," and I'm like, "Sure, if you want to believe that." The real answer, that I also tell them is they just weren't looking at you this month. The Eye of Sauron has fixed itself upon another spot on the field. And oh, so yeah, yeah. I'll let them have their victory if they want it, but I don't want them to have some kind of idea that they're, doing, that they're awesome right now. Yeah, you're awesome right now only because nobody's looking at you. And yeah, it's shitty because I'm like, I should let them have their win, but it's not a win, right? And I'm tired of babying people like that or giving them false hope like they're doing good. Um, because, wait until they put out another release and there's another 100 vulnerabilities that haven't been found or have been found. So, yeah. Anyway, all right, let me go see. I know there was another couple that we didn't get. This was Airborne. This was Airborne. Oh, we got that one. That was Oligo. Okay. NRK, that was Magic Cat. Inside the Scam Network, I got that one too. Okay. Earl Scan, that was China. Got that one. Okay. Virtualization platforms. We got that one. Defending against UNC. Gen AI app. We got that one. And Lockbit. We got that one. Okay. I think I got everything. If I didn't, then we, go through the quiz yourself and get all the ones that I missed. So, cool. All right. Wormable, yes. Let me see. Yeah, Talos. Okay, cool. And then what does it take? Yeah, yeah, we got this one too. This was, yeah, what does it take? Today's bits. All right. All right, there we go. Cool. All right. Welcome, lurkers. Welcome to the party, pal. I love it. Uh, let's see here. I smell the pierogies my wife has created. I was looking at a bunch of RP stuff. About to start my solo campaign over on Peerless RP. Give another shout out here because we always use it. There we go. Let me see. I'm gonna see if there's anything else that we didn't that didn't make it on the Thread Intel feed this week. Feel like 8 out of 10 cats, right? It's like, oh, what didn't make it on the list? If you've never watched 8 out of 10 cats, it's pretty funny. It's a panel show out of the UK, but it's pretty funny. It's got Jimmy Carr, and a bunch of other folks on there. Oh, I saw this. Yeah, Nintendo's threatening to brick your Switch 2 if you reverse engineer it. Interesting discussion. This is, I mean, I've never seen the blatant, hey, switch to King. There we go. Nintendo made some major changes to its account user agreement and privacy policy in an attempt to stop Switch 2 piracy. I actually got an email that I didn't read talking about that. Well, it was a new privacy policy or whatever. I play Pokemon Go, so I figured it had to do something with that. I don't actually own any Nintendo devices. So Nintendo's never been shy when it comes to protecting its IP. Last year, the game company made headlines after shutting down high-profile emulators, which enabled users to run Switch games on their PC. They've done that before. They also have cracked down on not emulators for Switch, but also emulators that do NES games or SNES games or Dolphin or 64-bit 64 games because they want to resell them on the marketplace for the Switch to be able to play them, which I get it, but I'm not going to pay, another X number of dollars to play Super Mario Brothers on a Switch. Um, Not that I would do anything like running an emulator on my box. Yeah, so said issued a lawsuit after third-party accessory manufacturers leaked official mock-ups and renderings of the Switch 2 Pokemon game Pal World. The Pokemon game Pal World is one that came up recently. Um, to be fair, the Pal World folks, they didn't try very hard. Pal, yeah. Let me see if I can find that. I mean, they could have done a better job of trying to make it legitimate. Um, I mean, some of these look really, really close to exist, and all they did was change the colors. They gave this monkey a gun. I'm not sure why a green monkey with hairdo in the alpine forest would need a Kalashnikov. There's just a lot going on here. Some of these are almost blatant. They've added a little bit of pixels. They've added a few things, but why does a thing that looks like a Pikachu need a Gatling gun? This one looks like the chickens from Adventure of Zelda. Yeah. I mean, of course, I'm not making Pal World's life any easier by telling them, hey, your shit looks. Oh my God. Okay, this is Pal World here, right? Oh, okay. Wow. Okay, so that is interesting. Yeah, yeah. There's definitely some similarities there. If you're a Pokemon enthusiast or have played Pokemon at all, some of these look a lot similar to those. So, yeah. Okay, so I didn't make that comparison, but I could have, right? I don't see Pikachu when I see the one on the left. Um, you know, but I mean, the fact that you've got articles comparing Pal World to Pokemon, I still understand why a monkey needs a Kalashnikov, but an AK-47, sure, why not? Have at, right? Yeah, see, there's what it feels like is maybe somebody took an AI and said, "Hey, make me some Pokemon," and then the AI went out and said, "Oh, what can I make that looks like small monsters that exist on the system?" Oh yeah, let's go do that. And so maybe some got a little too close to perfect there. So anyway, Pal World was fun. Oh, you mean it's no longer around, Walt? I didn't know that. So, as discovered by GameFile, Stephen Totilio, Nintendo will be able to brick Switch 2 systems that bypass, modify, decrypt, defeat, tamper with their games and services. As of May 8th, Nintendo started rolling out emails to all users. Oh, Nintendo account users. Okay, so I do have a Nintendo.com account, so that may be why they sent that to me. Um, Without limitation, you agree that you may not publish, modify, reverse engineer, lease, rent, compile, disassemble, distribute, offer for sale. Whoa, wait, offer for sale. Hmm. So no, we stopped playing it for another. Oh, Red Dead Redemption Online. Okay, you went from Pocket Monster game to the Wild West. Um, so wait, you can't offer for sale your Switch? I don't understand that. Maybe they're assuming that you would, root it or bypass the control mechanisms in it and then offer them for sale as like on a third party or a flea bay or something like that. Um, Oh, offer for sale any derivative works of any portion of the Nintendo account services. So the protocols, the authentication, if you're trying to bypass that stuff, or bypass, modify, decrypt, defeat, tamper with, or circumvent any functions or protections, including hardware or software that would cause the account to operate in any other accordance. So this makes also extend to games like Pokemon Go, which exists on your phones. If you're using a rooted phone already, I think Pokemon Go won't work. At least that's one reason I kind of had to go, like vanilla with my phone, because at the time, putting a root on it would cause things not to function correctly. So you had to put in things like Magisk and those to bypass or to emulate non-rooted functions, if you will. And sometimes back when it first started, like, detection for root was like, does the SU binary exist? So they were like, oh, well, we'll just rename the SU binary, or we'll just make it that way. So as you see, the most important part here is the actual bricking of players' consoles, which we've bolded. Yeah, if you fail to comply with foregoing restrictions, Nintendo may render your account services or applicable Nintendo device permanently unusable in whole or in part. So it sounds like if you buy a Switch, you have to automatically sign in, kind of like Windows, whereas like you can't make a local account. You have to make a Nintendo account. You have to log in with the Nintendo account. And if you bypass their secure boot, or if you assuming it has secure boot, but if you bypass any of their mechanisms that they use to protect the operating system on there, like, you figure out how to bypass the fuse system. Like some of the Samsung phones back in the day had a fuse system that if you didn't do it just right, a little change in voltage pops that fuse, and then your phone's a brick, basically. Um, Yeah. There's several people who used to modify mobile devices for that purpose. Now, with if you just buy a Pixel, you can enable developer mode and put a bootloader on there, and you're solid. You're Bob's your mother's uncle. But yeah, um, cool. Well, I mean, not cool. It may put. I imagine it's going to put a slight problem there with um, using Nintendo, games or something, Switch 2 games. I'm pretty sure you can. I'm not going to go look those up right now because I don't want to C&D, but I imagine it's going to hamper temporarily people. And like with most rooting, most bypassing, most reverse engineering communities, they know what they're getting into when they do this, right? So it's not like you can complain when, the only thing it might affect would be like, hey, I bought this, on Fleabay from somebody, and then I logged into it and you locked my account. Why? Well, you bought a rooted device on Fleabay. You should have known what you're getting into. You know, sorry, not sorry. Your account's locked forever. Um, so yeah, you're going to get the people that thinking they're going to buy a legitimate device on Fleabay or whatever, and then they're going to have their accounts locked because of that. And they're I lost several $100s because I bought a device that wasn't legitimate or something. You see that a lot on like Reddit and stuff too. People are like, "Hey, is this microphone legitimate?" Like Shure microphones are a huge like counterfeit thing. People will create Shure microphones that are counterfeit, and hey, I bought this on eBay for 99 bucks and it's a SM7DB, and you're like, well, that's a $400 mic for 99 bucks on eBay. Probably not legit. And they're like, oh, does this look legit? And they've taken the thing apart and it's like, oh, here's the wiring and everything. I'm like, if it's too good to be true, it probably is. And yeah, so, well, yeah, brick that thing, man, brick it. Uh, yeah, I mean, one reason I haven't bought a new gaming system is because I'm 45 years old and I only have a nice big TV that my wife watches stuff on, and I don't have another place to play games. But then I realize I don't have the time and effort to spend hours and hours and hours on games. So I just download Super Mario Brothers or Mario 3 or whatever and just play with it on the emulator. Uh, Legitimately purchased. Shit. Damn. Anyway, let me see. Was there anything else? Oh, another healthcare company got breached. Whoop-de-doo. Um, I was going to do some, I was going to do some, boot dot boot.dev, but that last lesson is going to be huge, and I just, I'm not a fan. Oh, yeah, here's another one, another cease and desist. If you've ever played Counter-Strike Classic mod that's been around for 8 years of development, Valve has, for some reason, reversed themselves and issued a cease and desist to the mod team that has been, handling this Counter-Strike mod for 8 years. Um, Kind of shitty because it's like, yeah, they gave you permission now, and now you don't have permission. So, these mod teams that have been using these things from time to time, it's almost like, well, this mod has gotten more popular than the actual game itself, or we buy it. It just seems like Valve is shooting themselves, just like with Nintendo, shooting themselves in the foot instead of saying, hey, don't buy our hardware, we're going to buy the software. We'll let you buy an application that you can put on any computer, and then you use a Bluetooth controller and you're good. I mean, feels like there's an entire monetary stream that they're missing out on. The gamer that doesn't want to buy a console, you know, put that shit on a Windows box, put that shit on an iOS device, put it on a mobile device so you can play Super Mario Brothers or Sonic or whatever you want on there. Um, I mean, Steam exists for a reason, right? You can play it on mobile, you can play it on your computers. But anyway, so they gave the green light in 2017. I guess shit changes, right? It was rejected by Steam, with the only explanation being we found your app is not a good fit for Steam. Um, yeah. The cease and desist came through hours before the team intended to update the mod through ModDB. So yeah, I guess they have to shutter. I don't know what the next options are here. Let me see what they say on their X account here. Did they remove it? Nope. Classic offensive .net. Yeah, so I guess Valve has requested we do not distribute Classic Offensive. And now they have a hashtag suggesting, to do so. That sucks. 10 years playing CS, which is in fact a free mod, but you really trying to F yourself, Ubisoft. All you care is about money is from skins, and your programmers don't do shit. Yeah. Oh, that sucks. That sucks. A huge L, shameful. Yeah, I mean, I don't see anybody. 8 years of work. I'm sorry, you guys. Remember where you came from. Remember this game was a mod back then. Massive L as usual from you since too many years now. Yeah, hopefully Valve will figure out, who their player base is, and or maybe they just decided to get rid of that because they're trying to kill old games and they don't want people to use, play Counter-Strike or whatever anymore on with this mod and to upgrade to newer versions. I don't know. Anyway, sometimes I have to wonder why multi-billion-dollar organizations do what they do. All right. Well, anyway, I'm going to go. I'm going to get ready for dinner, and I think I'm going to try to finish that one last lesson on boot.dev. Walt, they did say if you've already started like the Python, stream, you can actually switch over to the TypeScript one if you wanted to do that without losing your current status or not levels, but like current progress there. So if you wanted to switch back and forth, it's entirely possible. So, um, but yeah, just a thought if you wanted to get on the boot.dev for that. Anyway, I'm gonna go. I will see you all hopefully Sunday. I think I still need to send the invite out to Mr. Betcher and Miss Berlin. Um, Sunday's Mother's Day, so if any of you out there are mothers, happy Mother's Day. If you're cat parents, happy Mother's Day. And we'll be streaming on Sunday night, at least Mr. Betcher and I, and we're probably be a little rough because we're going to be trying to not use Zoom. We're going to try Video Ninja and see how well that works. We may end up just saying F it and continue using Zoom, but yeah, just trying to, keep up with the times. So hope you have a great day, and we'll see you all hopefully Sunday, or if not, next Tuesday. Okay, bye everybody.